how to build muscle. All right. Now, first things first, and this is a big one. Hypertrophy. Okay. Or hypertrophy, hypertrophy, whatever. Right. Whatever matters, whatever the case, what matters is what it does, right? So hypertrophy, golly, now I can't say it. Hypertrophy is basically the art of building muscle, okay, or the science of building muscle. And what hypertrophy is really just you tearing your muscle fibers in order for them to regrow bigger, okay? That is what hypertrophy is, right? I would say go back bigger. Screw it. Right. Marcus already. Okay, you stupid. Whatever. Right. Hypertrophy is the art of tearing your muscles to grow back bigger, right? Because realistically, that's all lifting weights really is, right? Lifting weights is just lifting weights, which causes micro tears in your muscles, which then those muscles, your muscles, in a sense, kind of fuse together, or should I say, just really repair each other through using protein, right? Big piece. We'll get into that later. Which then make your muscles bigger, right? Stronger as a case of that, okay? Now, the reason this is such a big piece is because there's a lot that kind of goes into hypertrophy. And hypertrophy is really, just to kind of dumb it down, is just work and rest, right? Go to the gym, rest, right? Big issue. This is a big thing. It's just like I talked about in my previous videos. You cannot work out too much. As much as you think you could, as much as you think, as much as your arms or your legs or your abs or your chest hurts, or your neck, whatever you work out, I don't know. You think that you would get more from, right? But that's not the case, because what I always tell you, you're gonna hear me say this a lot, okay? Less is more. Always. Less is more. Always. It is always how you should look at not just this, but anything, right? But especially when it comes to lifting. And that does not mean, okay, that does not mean, oh, I'm gonna pick this weight up one time and then that's it. No. You still have to push your muscles to the point of tearing these muscle fibers so they can grow back. That's the whole point of this shit. It's for them to grow back stronger. Not for you to just take, or not for you to just, don't take this too literal, okay? Shoot, you still have to worry about actually putting the work in, okay? To make your muscles bigger. But this is a big piece of it all. This is how they get bigger. Alright, you want biceps like that? Huh? You want some veiny forearms, bro? Hey, this is the move. Alright? So always remember that. It's work. It is work and it is rest. Key word. Let me get this shit out. Work, then rest. Okay? Actually, key word is really rest. But don't forget to work. Alright? That's huge. Stay. You're not going to get anywhere just, I'm going to hit this one time and then I'm done. Don't be that guy that goes to the gym, gets on one machine and leaves. Alright? Don't be that. Alright? But yeah, that's pretty much the whole point of hypertrophy, whatever you want to say. Alright? That's number one. Now, once again, less is more, man. You know, a lot of people really get to. I used to be there too, man. I used to think, man, if I could hit this many sets and this many reps of this workout, I'm gonna be gigantic. That's not how it works, man. You know, and you can look this up, all right? You can look this up. A lot of you can find this information and you can see it, but I'm giving it to you in the most simplest way as possible because honestly, I feel like they do overcomplicate it, especially in the mainstream fitness era that we're kind of in, you know. So be careful of that, all right? Be careful of the confusion that they kind of put you through, just for you to kind of only need the basics, all right? But number 2, nutrition. Okay. Now a lot of you are like, oh, I eat healthy. I do eat healthy. Oh, I don't eat bad. Oh, bro, McDonald's every week. Actually, man, people be going working out. This is McDonald's right next to my gym. I be seeing dudes getting their carbo straight over there. I'm like, okay, dude. You know what I'm saying? But it's not just like cooking your own food or, you know, going to go buy your own food and cook. You know, it's not just that, okay? It's actually a lot more to it than just eating healthy. It's also because you can still eat healthy too much. And a lot of you, I know, it's kind of strange. But you can't, like, if I was to just eat, because here, we're gonna get to this piece, right? Calorie counting. Calorie counting, right? Now, one thing that you have to kind of understand and learn is that every person has a calorie limit, right? There's a certain amount of calories that you need to maintain your weight, and there's a certain amount of calories for you to lose weight, and there's a certain amount of calories for you to gain weight, okay? And the different terms that you would use for these, right? So there is calorie deficit, and then, you know what, I'll think about it. I'm pretty sure it's not a word for the maintaining, but we'll just say calorie limit, right? We'll say calorie limit. And then there is the calorie surplus. Now I'm pretty sure you all can understand. Oh shit, surplus. Should still say surplus. Surplus. Alright, calorie surplus. Alright, and here, we're gonna make this easy, you know, lose weight, maintain weight, gain weight, okay? That's what pretty much all those mean. Alright? And you have to really understand what calorie counting really means, okay? What it is. And calorie counting in of itself, as like I said before, is basically counting your calorie limits and your deficits and your gains. And for example, the average male, let's see if I'm correct. The average male should be eating somewhere between around 2,500 calories a day, depending on how active you are. If you're extremely active, which, you know, the typical gym goer, let's say you go to the gym 3 days a week, that's fairly active, that's pretty active. You could definitely probably bump that up to about almost 3,000 calories if you want. Me personally, I don't go that high because I like to look cut. So, you know, I kind of go up and down in weight constantly, but that's me, right? But that's roughly where you want to be at, depending on how 2,500, roughly where a male should be at. Women, you know, probably take another like 400 calories off, depending on how active she is and such and such. All right, this is why you see, calorie surplus is going above that. So if let's say my calorie limit was 2,500, right? Now I can shoot up above that, for example, right? I'll go up maybe 500 calories, right? That's probably about another like small meal, maybe another few pieces of chicken, whatever it may be. You know, maybe it might even be some bread, whatever, right? that would be a surplus. And well, guess what happens when you go into a calorie surplus? You gain weight. Okay, so you want to keep that in mind. Now, calorie limit is where you maintain that specific calorie. Now that we say, it goes up and down, it's not perfect science, right? Or, well, you don't have to be perfect, just consistent. You'd be surprised, a lot of people I talk to do not know about this basic type of information right here. Is a lot of people just think, oh, I just have to eat a bunch of rice and chicken, and I'll just get a bunch of muscle. And it's like, no, you still have to work out, you still have to do certain things that equate to that, but yes, that is part of it. This is still just part of building muscle. Because yes, I could eat less, but not go to the gym, and I would just be the same. I would just lose like some fat probably, which that could be somebody's goal. Versus the calorie limit, that's probably the healthiest. Just maintaining whatever weight you're at. But then again, if you're already obese and you're maintaining, I don't know, you're eating 4,000 calories a day, you feel me? You just gonna stay that way. You get me? Or if you might even go up in weight. You know what I mean? And then you end up here gaining weight because now you're in a surplus. But like I said, it depends on what you're trying to do. Trying to lose weight, calorie deficit. Trying to maintain your weight, calorie limit. You're trying to go up in weight, calorie surplus. Always. Remember to count your calories. And you know what? I'm gonna throw this in there as well, right? It's not perfect, all right? This isn't perfection. What this is just you being conscious of what you're eating and how you're eating. All right, I still eat fast food from time to time, but I watch the calories. That Big Mac is like 1,110 calories, something like that. Dude, that's a lot. That's half my calorie limit, pretty much. You get me? But I keep that in mind. I'm like, okay, now if I wanted to get an ice cream with that, then that ice cream, I don't know, not off the top of my head, probably somewhere around 200, 300 calories, right, for ice cream, depending on how much you get. Right, and boom, now we're already at 15. So that means I only got 1,000 calories left until I go into a surplus. And even if you go like 10 calories above that, that's not gonna kill you. Vice versa for the losing weight, right? But just try to keep track of that. I'm telling you, you're gonna see some gains. You're gonna be like, what the heck? Like, you're gonna be like, dude, like, he's right. That's how I was when I figured this shit out, man. Dude, all the advice I took, all the videos and books and things, just the articles and blogs I've read. Oh man, I was going through the whole thing. The personal trainer I've had, different, dude. But luckily I'm here, so you don't have to go through all that. Right. Next, and the final thing, number 3, the one that people get very confused about, I feel, because it's so crazy to me. Rest and recovery. Huge, right? I'd honestly say this is probably more important than almost counting your calories, but at the end of the day, do all of them, okay? But this, for some reason, every fitness guru or whatever out there just neglects this shit. US, or just any mainstream gym that has personal trainers, and they be out here telling, because I have a guy that goes to these gyms and he has one, and I told him not to get it, because the information I have that I'm giving you is pretty much the same thing they're gonna say, but they're gonna keep you there. I'm trying to get you away from them, but they're gonna try to keep you there because they're trying to make money on it. But some people don't get it. They really don't. This is huge. A lot of these personal trainers, they won't tell you about how, when you work out, you don't want to work out too much, and you want to make sure after you work out, you get rest and you eat. You need to eat. Especially if it's like the first thing you did in the day and you haven't ate anything at all. You need to eat after the workout, especially after the workout. Now, before a workout, you can get away with it because you just end up burning really a lot of fat. And after that, then you'll just end up putting on muscle, basically doing muscle recomp at that point, which is great. You know what I mean? But after, this is mainly an after thing. You have to rest, dude. It's so important because, like we said, with hypertrophy, your muscles have to repair themselves, and your muscles repair themselves through rest. And proper nutrition, we'll say that too, because we don't, and nutrition. Right? This is kind of intertwined in hypertrophy, right? But hypertrophy is just mainly the art of ripping your muscles with your fibers and them repairing themselves. But in order for them to repair themselves, which is why that's what the pump is. The pump is when when you feel big. That is the microfibers, the micro tears. All right, and it feels good in the moment, right? But I know we've all been sore the next day. You're like, well, it hurts or whatever. Your leg, especially leg day. But leg day, you definitely gotta do this shit on leg day, whatever the case. This shit isn't. You got to rest, okay? Because if you don't, that's where you get all that soreness from. Okay, especially if you don't eat too. And eating is huge too. So I say protein, right? Protein is huge. Protein is the one macro you need. Protein. Protein is the one macro, or the one macro that you need to keep track of constantly. All right. And just to add on to that, so now me personally, this is how I go about it, right? And this has been working for me. 1.7 grams of protein per pound of weight. What's it? Of weight. You're like, what? Of weight? Of weight? What do you mean of weight? Of how much you weigh, right? So we do some math. I didn't bring my phone. I don't want to do math. Basically, so you can kind of estimate this, right? Or you can round it up to one. All right, round it up to one, make it easy for us. And I weigh 180, right? So that's 180 grams of protein, roughly, of how much you want to intake in order to maximize. Okay, it doesn't have to be that high, and give or take probably about 20. So probably about 160, 155. So around there is probably where you would sit with the amount of protein intake you need. And yeah, this isn't, you know what I mean? That's to optimize this, okay? This isn't, like, you have to get that amount of protein in. You should try to, but I still be putting on hella fucking muscle, or let me say hella, but good muscle, even if I don't reach that. Because right now, groceries are expensive, so I kind of get it. You don't want to eat that much. I don't eat that much. This shit expensive. You know what I mean? But yeah, huge. Rest and recovery. Always try to get that in. Okay? Actually, always get that in. Okay? It's a big piece. But, you know what? So that's all I have for you, right, for today. I am going to leave you with one last piece. Right? Something to remember. Right? On your gym journey. This is one thing that let's spell it wrong. Consistent. Let's see. There we go. Consistency isn't perfection. And the reason why I say this, and I want you to remember this, is because a lot of people fall off because they missed one day. And that one day, dude, there's so many days that come after that day, it doesn't even matter. Matter of fact, you can make it up on your next gym day. You get me? So don't let perfection confuse you. Yeah, get dogs out here, right? Don't let perfection confuse you of what consistency is. Consistency they're not the same thing. And honestly, there's no such thing. So be consistent.